things on the popular TV show Webster in the 1980s. I was a fan. But the small screen couldn't contain him because shortly thereafter he burst on the silver screen, making his theatrical debut as the obnoxious foil Francis Buxton to Paul Rubens' Herman and Pee Wee's Big Adventure. From there on, he went on to star in a number of popular films, including Teen Wolf. Of course, kicked off the Leprechaun franchise, had appearances in a number of different television shows throughout the decades. This is Star Trek: The Next Generation. Oh, sorry, Star Trek: Deep Space Nine, rather. I love all those shows. Seinfeld. And no matter what he appears on, he somehow manages to not only steal the scene, but leave us with at least one very quotable moment. Please welcome to the show, Mark Holton. Hey, Mark. It's good to see you. This is number one fan right there.
Yeah, he's been kind to me.
Yes. So, you know, I first take note that, and look, I'll be honest with you, I grew up in a bigger city, Jersey City, New Jersey, which is the second largest city in the state. So when I hear someone's from Oklahoma, I automatically assume everything's a small town. Is that correct?
Well, there are plenty of small towns.
Yeah.
I'm living in one right now.
Right.
I'm out of California. I was here for 33 years and moved back to Oklahoma, the place of my birth or whatever. It's different, but you know, one of the reasons why that made it so appealing and easy is when they put the Costco in Tulsa. I went, okay, Costco, what else they have? Okay, Trader Joe's, okay, good, okay, you know, so Sprouts. And it just got down to a moment of, why not?
Yeah.
You know.
So when and obviously you said you went back to the area you were born in. How is it that someone who's from Oklahoma, and, you know, again, presumably a small town, is inspired to pursue a career that would take him to New York City, Hollywood?
Well, I started in 1972 in my freshman year of high school, and went to college, and then from there I did on radio. It was horrible. Oh yeah, do you remember MOR radio, middle of the road?
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
Oh my God, it was like it was killing my soul. They would say, you can't deviate from the playlist.
Right.
They had me following Willie Nelson with Blondie. And I would keep me going back out here.
I didn't know Blondie was middle of the road.
On this station, she was. If you put her and Willie, middle of the road. No, it's country.
Yeah.
So anyway, I escaped that, and I was wrestling with, where should I go? What should I do? And I had done non-union dinner theater, enjoyed it, but outdoor drama. But it just came time to make the decision, either that or get my teaching degree in white picket fence, right? And do that gig. That was really the only thing I had, worked myself into that corner. Right. And I thought, if I get that degree, everybody I know says, well, I met this girl and maybe, got married and pretty soon, that's
the same story.
It's a beautiful life,
Yeah.
But I knew if I did that this would happen, so I said, no, damn it, I'm gonna roll the dice and see where this takes me. And I was up late last night, late at night, and I was watching an interview, and I want to say it was Lee Majors.
Okay.
It was years ago. And the interviewer, probably Tom Snyder, somebody like that, was interviewing. They said, well, why did you choose Hollywood over Broadway? I thought, He goes, well, I knew psychologically, having been to both places, that I would do better rubbing bones instead of elbows. And I had been to Manhattan several times.
Yes.
Come to the hotel in the evening with a white shirt on and just like ash on it.
Yes.
So I said,
it's better now, yes. In the 70s and 80s.
It's better now.
It's better now as far
it is cleaner here, but there's plenty of hobo shit on the ground.
You're talking about LA?
No.
Oh, New York City. That's why New York City. Defensive.
Crossing paths.
Yes, okay. All right, here we go.
We're talking about New York, and you're talking
All right,
about LA.
we're back to New York.
We love it.
Very good.
Oh, love.
So at this time that you're in New York City, you suggest, all right, so you're going home and deciding where I'm going to go. Okay, very
I
good.
like to go on the street, watch Broadway shows.
Right.
I saw stuff like, so I saw Fiddler.
Right.
When they and saw the great radio Zero Mostel.
Oh, okay, that's
So that's inspiration.
right, sure.
But still, I chose to go because I knew that I would do better in that environment, and I'm glad I did. I mean, who knows what would have happened otherwise, but it worked out.
It's interesting that, when you look at your IMDb page, I can have this impression now of a gentleman who is, it's a sort of, it's a trope. You take a bus from Oklahoma, you get off the bus, you put in movies, because it seems like out of nowhere, you already have look, ultimately, you become maybe not a household name doing Pee-wee, because Francis becomes a household name, certainly. I don't know if Mark Holton does at that point, because we didn't have the information to know who was doing what back then. Yeah. But somehow, you appear on that in your credits before that are just a couple of television appearances, including 2 on Webster, which a guy who seems to be relatively unknown, even to get 2.
Just one on Webster.
Oh, okay.
And I forget what the next one was in there.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of, I have a series of stories that are ongoing. What most people would think was either incredible luck or divine intervention.
Yeah.
And, I look back over that, I went, my God, every point in my life, and of course, I was sitting there going, how my agent hadn't called or whatever. I didn't realize how blessed I was because I was worried.
Right.
And you have a family, you've got, 2 little ones. And so sometimes you have to get beyond and past that to look back and go, how blessed,
Right.
So it was, and I'm still saying that.
Yeah.
When you and I talk the next time, Evan, I'm going to go, that's so blessed, and I mean it.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, hey, so many years later, you're still being able to talk about this. That's quite, that you have all this to be able to reflect
Still
on.
being on this side of the grass.
I didn't mean that. It sounded like I meant that, but I didn't mean that.
I was born in 1958. If you're going to get an autograph, you better hurry up.
And then it'll be a collector's item.
Just you'll be on eBay going, shit!
So, again, and speaking about being blessed, then, again, you had very few credits before. It seems like you're in a film. It's Tim Burton's debut, directorial debut. Paul Rubens is the man who, he co-writes it with Phil Hartman. These are folks who came out of the groundlings.
Michael Barnwell.
And, Paul Rubens, Phil Hartman, you've got a number of other cast members there that came out of the groundlings just like him, which now we understand is this machine that cranks out great comedic talent. It surprises me that you're not a groundling or they didn't cast a groundling because your role seems perfect for that. And again, maybe it's one of these moments of divine intervention. You were cast. How is it that you came to be cast in that?
I don't know how I got into the room.
Yep.
At that point, it was like, okay, go see this casting director. And then you get in there and you see the assistant casting director.
Right.
That would be it. And if you got lucky, hey, you got a call back. Well, shit, call back.
Yep.
So you get the call back, and it's just like, okay, check it off. Hey, how'd that audition go for so-and-so? That was 2 weeks ago. You're telling your family. If I would have told you by now.
Yeah.
Stop torturing me. But I think they brought me in just so they would have an alternate in case something happened. You always want to have, at the theater, you want to have the guy that play all the male roles in the back, somebody else show up.
Right.
And I think I don't know for sure, but I suspect that's why they saw me. And it's just one more guy. Let's And I went in, and I went straight in front of the producers and the director and the writers. It was a full room. I was intimidated as hell. It's on the Warner Brothers lot. And they said, well, we want you to ask me a few questions. Well, we want you to read with Paul. I went, oh shit, this ought to be easy. And I had seen Paul Rubens on a late night television show. Okay. With Letterman.
And he was doing the character on the show.
Yes, doing the character Pee-wee. And I thought, it's hilarious. I thought, I want to see this guy. He kept the comedy store or whatever. Right. So I had really no frame of reference with Paul Rubens. And as far as the director goes, he had done this thing called Frankenweenie that I had.
Right. No one had.
And all of a sudden, we just like hit it off. And pretty much what happened in the audition is pretty close to what happened in front of the camera.
Is that right? Okay.
And I walked out there and I thought, well, that went okay. And I got home and turned on my, Soviet diesel-powered phone machine. And hey, they want to offer you the role. So I called my agent. I'm like, holy shit, are you serious?
Yeah.
They said, yeah. And that was it.
Okay.
But I think they were in negotiations with somebody whose agent was a little too greedy. And I think that what they had was a situation where they wanted the guy, but they had every reason, and I don't know what the word is for it, but anyway, supposedly the story goes that the agent called back and said, well, no, we moved on. We had declined your offer. We didn't expect to hear from you again, and they made a deal with me in the meantime. Those damn Hollywood people.
It's a credit though to your comedic talent that it seems like, unless you can tell me otherwise, you weren't trained in that as these other folks were. Again, they probably had their pick of the litter from all these groundings and others.
Go to groundings or whatever, but I did a lot of theater, in university and in my high school. There was a thing back then, I guess it still exists, the National Forensic Wing.
Oh, sure.
So we would go to tournaments. Right. We had the guys that did the debate thing, the extemporaneous, we had the actors, and the actresses, the humorous duet, humorous interpretation, poetry. So we had a good squad or whatever. We pretty much cleaned up anywhere we went. So I had that. I had the plastic fucking trophies, man. And my little, you would have risen to so much. NFL kid. And then I got myself at nationals. I got a scholarship. And so.
Do you think that helps your, because the Pee-wee thing is such a broad thing. You and Paul Rubens are the only two people that are like man-childs. Adults, children.
Yeah.
So it seems so broad. But anyway, you were fantastic, obviously. So what is it, Paul? Look, we've got folks again because the advent of the internet, everyone's aware of even acting techniques. We learn all these crazy things that maybe Daniel Day-Lewis maybe remaining in character because he's method. Is Paul Rubens Pee-wee Herman 24/7 when he's on a film like this? Or?
No, I mean, he's a good comedic actor. Yeah. I wouldn't call Paul a method actor, but when he did that role, I'm sure he's able to use whatever tools are in his toolbox if they need, what the needs the character needs for the role to be executed properly. So I don't call myself either or. And it doesn't matter in the theater if you are a method actor and believe it and feel it, if it doesn't read past the fourth row. Mm-hmm. You got to reach the guy in the back of the building. So I think a lot of times, like in a league of their own, whatever, I would get close to that, and so I had that in my toolbox, but I didn't rely on it because if switch on and off. But just going through the motion, trigger, you know. But you have to have that backup. You have to have something behind the door. I do anyway. I can't speak for the Stanislavski, Boleslavski people, or even really tell you the difference between one and the other, and don't give a shit for that matter. But so anyway, we're too deep into the weeds on this.
Yeah. Okay. See, okay. How about this? I had heard you once tell a story about how you believe you may have nearly been killed during the bathtub scene.
Yeah, I've not worn that story out, but I'm glad to tell it.
Yeah.
Well, there were 3 times actually. I'll tell you. And this one was
3 times you were nearly killed in the bathtub?
No, not in the bathtub. 3 different times in 3 different scenes.
This moment happened.
One was I was just scared to death. Well, 2 of the times I was just scared to death.
I see.
People had my back. But that time, the pool was built on a sound stage, and there's miles and miles of cable running around this thing. I mean, big honking electric cables, junction boxes, and it just, snakes of it going everywhere. And then you have the steps up from there. And I was standing at pool level, and the camera was shooting Professor Toru Tanaka, wrestling fans, and acting fans. Professor Tanaka comes in, bursts through the doors, and lands in the skies a walking brick wall. He hits the water, and there's a tsunami over both sides. And it just bathes it, and it's running like a river down the side. Right over the cables, and I'm standing there, barefooted, in water. And I went, my hair is about to go poof. So I just very gently, as much as I could move before I died, I started going up the steps. It was damn good equipment.
Grounded.
Yeah. On a really bad guerrilla theater B movie.
It's a whole different story. So, look, Pee Wee Herman came out in 1985, and also in 1985 you appear in Teen Wolf. I think it's interesting, or again, maybe it's just one of these sort of divine interventions, or just very lucky. I note that you appeared in a lot of films with folks that were just about to make it big, including Mr. Michael J. Fox. Back to the Future had just come out a couple of weeks before Teen Wolf. Teen Wolf was actually number 2 in the theaters when it was released, so it was, neck and neck. Had you played basketball ever before that?
Should get a dry wires.
Yep.
Played a little basketball. I couldn't play my way out of the wet paper sack.
Yep.
It's your best description. But Chubby didn't need it.
Right. Well, until it starts to get important, the montage at the end there.
Oh yeah. If I did talk about divine intervention, I actually made one of those shots.
Oh, is that right? One of the ones that made it in the film?
Yeah, and of course in the film, it cuts the ball going in, and then it cuts back to me, and my reaction was like, that was me. That was
right.
me. Now that was right there.
Sense
because nobody was as surprised when the damn thing went in. Nobody was any more surprised than me.
Yeah.
Because
I know the moment you're talking
about.
about.
Of course, they didn't get a long shot to actually see me do it. But I remember. So it was a lot of fun.
I remember you do that take and then you stay back in it. You go right back in it. I think it's when you make a face at the guy, the enemy, the protagonist or antagonist on the Dragons team. You stay there a couple times. Yeah. So what's the shooting order? So you made Pee Wee at that time, and then you made Teen Wolf, or?
You have to tell me. I don't
know. I'm curious.
Chronologically run together.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to tell from you and I are sitting here looking at my monitor.
Yes.
Because we have release dates, right? And I don't remember that far back. Okay, it was 6 months before the release date.
Right.
Or 3 months. I don't know. So it it could have gone either way. I know when I did Team Wolf, I was still learning. When I did, you never quit learning. Okay, master shot first, then we punch in, we get you, then we shove your shoulder, and we get me, and then we might get something else. I don't know. But that was just, a loose sport. So I really can't tell you. But and I didn't realize it kind of led me to, I think, I know where you're going with this, ultimately.
Okay.
Is all these films are this block that happened within just a span of a few years.
Yep.
And I isolated it. We had VHS back then. You went to the theater, you got the VHS, you either rented it or you bought it. Right. And that was it. Not that many people even had cable back then.
Right, yeah.
So, these people, I was telling somebody earlier, I would get these DVD covers when I first started doing these, and I haven't done that many. And they just be like hammered to hell. Dog ear, there's like dry peanut butter from 1987 on them. And I'm going, do you really want me to sign this? And I'm going, yeah, this is one that my brother and I watched every day until we wore it out. Oh, no, that's the second copy we wore out. I'm going, geez, man. Because that's going on now in the bookcase, whatever. My brother and I can look at that, remember that, and share that, because I was part of their childhood.
Right.
Being a,
yeah.
So also there were fewer movies. Now there's just movies coming out all over the place, and you can watch them and stream them and get it through this service, that service. And so there's a lot more films, there were fewer films, and then people started passing it down to their little brothers and little sisters, and then their kids, and now their grandkids. So I'm like 3 or 4 generations deep, into that. It just seems like, every little generation has the same reaction. It's a funny film. It's not dating. It's brilliant. So it just it's one of those things of Peter's Big Adventure and Teen Wolf, to an extent. But it seems like those films are more popular now than when they came out. And so I had this, years and years and years where I was just in total darkness. I had no idea. Now and then I would get a copy of whatever the doctor's office. PB's Big Adventures still in the top 50 cult films of all time. Jeez, why? No frame of reference, in my mind.
Yeah.
That was old stuff.
So that means that I guess you're suggesting maybe only recently you're realizing how much of a role or impact you've played in these people's lives for generations.
I was clueless. I didn't do that much on the internet. In fact, just kind of walked away from Facebook.
Yeah.
In 2009, just went, if somebody poked me or in the barn, I don't have time for this shit. And so, in Comic-Con, once there's a bunch of guys running around going, hey, I'll trade you a Batman for 2 Superman. I'm going, comics, what do I care about that stuff? Clueless, I think Comic-Con in San Diego just had its 50th anniversary. And I'm going, whatever. So yeah, I was clueless. So when I found out, I'm going, my God, I had gone for decades and was completely unaware that there were people out there that, still remember and care and all that stuff about things that I had just, realized put in the back of my mind. And I had gone to South Africa to do Leprechaun 8, which is actually Leprechaun 2, as far as the story goes. The only other Leprechaun besides the original one that followed follows the same story. The rest are in space, or the hood, or the casino, and so I looked at this part one, or part one in Leprechaun Returns. And I had been on a plane for like 40-something hours. And this is after I moved back to Oklahoma. This was like 2008. I'm just, ready to, follow very much. And I got on the plane in Dallas, Fort Worth to go make the last little leg to Tulsa, Oklahoma. And the plane had a problem. Oh God, this is the trip from hell. And I turned around and there's the Admirals Club, and I looked at my ticket and I went, I'm going in here. So, I could peek out and see what's the board. And I went in there and went up to the bar, and I thought, God, I can't have any alcohol right now. I'll just fall over dead. I've had it with coffee. I'll just get some herb tea. So I see this little area, and I head toward it. And as I'm approaching it, let's say your back is to me, and I'm walking behind you. I hear this voice, and I catch just a glimpse of the side of it, the face. And as I'm walking by, I hear a little more of the voice. I go, I know this voice. I know this guy. Who is that? Who is that? And I went around the corner, made my tea, and I made sure I went way around where I could see who it was. And it was Paul Rubens.
I'm not kidding. Wow.
So I walk up, and I'm just like, oh, I'll be right now. I've got on black clothes, those cheap blankets they give you on airlines. It is us. My hair's going like this. And I started walking toward him, and he's sitting down with these other people on either side of him. And he sees me coming toward him, and it's like I see him look at them like, security alert.
Here comes another one.
Yeah, I thought, I'm getting ready to get on the plane. This guy's going to hit me up for an autograph. I got out there, and I just stopped, and I started laughing. I said, Paul, it's Mark. He looked up and said, what the hell are you doing here? I said, I don't know, what the hell are you doing here? So, we had a big laugh or whatever, and we had to talk. We texted, Merry Christmas, Happy Birthday. That was about the extent of it. And I started asking him about conventions because that's why he was there. He was just flying back from a convention in Dallas. So he just, kind of filled me in, and I started talking to other people, and getting, somewhat of a, got the grease off the old foggy porthole out of the ocean beyond. Okay, I see. Okay, yeah, that's great. So he was a great help, and still is. So that's how I settled that, and then as far as me being able to accept it. 35th anniversary of Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Paul did a grand tour starting at the West Coast going to the East Coast, and they're all beautiful theaters. I looked at the tour dates and I called him and I said, hey, I'm going to come see you in Dallas. He goes, okay, I'll fix you up, set you up. So I got in there, I snuck in, kind of got to see, how nobody recognized me. Nobody thought that was me in a million years. I'm just sitting there with my wife. And he shows footage before the film of the MTV brand premiere, whatever, that was live. Right. It was the first time MTV had done that. And they did total coverage of before and then had footage of the after parties. And of course there were a number of people there where they filled the time. You had David Lee Roth, stars, that were MTV or pop culture centric. So it was a big deal. But I didn't get to see any of it because I was sitting in front of Quiet Riot
like the bookends.
Yeah, it was crazy. And wow, our universe woke up in, wake up. So that was a real treat, just seeing that, and in a great theater, a big screen, and they played a big adventure. And it's a Texas audience.
Mm-hmm.
So, when you play that film in front of Texas.
I feel like I should get ready to clap already.
Deep in the heart of Texas, absolutely. And I mean, yeehaw! And they just lit it up like a Christmas tree. And afterwards, Paul came out and did a hilarious routine and he gave a wonderful talk. I learned a lot of stuff about Phoebe's Big Adventure that I had never heard of before, just from his talk, to be honest. And he decided to spotlight me toward the end. And I went, oh, shit.
They found you.
And they said, there's, Mark Holton, they played Francis or whatever. And, and he does this. So I stood up and just gave him hey, welcome aboard, sir. Glad to be here. Hey, little acknowledgement. And all of a sudden I look around and these people, they replied, a lot of them replied with a lot of effort. Because this Texas audience had a full bar and they had back. So right now, they're amped up or whatever. I see the stand going, and I look down at my wife, and she looks up at me like. And so afterward, long story short, long story long, I get out in the lobby after the film, and a few people are come around me, and talking to me or whatever, and about 2 or 3 people leave. All of a sudden, this big hulking guy, suit jacket, gray hair, is coming at me with this real serious look on his face. And then he starts gently working his way through the people. And he walks right up to me and he goes, "Could I have a hug?" Wow. Yeah, man, sure. And I embraced it. And he hugged me like I was his uncle or father or whatever. And just said the words in my ear, "You were part of my childhood." And bingo. So I mean, you talk about tough. You talk about keeping your shit wired tight, as long as you could. I was just ready to dissolve.
Oh, I see.
And so, I felt like, God, this must be how Captain Kangaroo felt.
That's so, yeah.
But anyway, I came to accept it because I was always my hardest critic of myself. And you found out about this, and I thought, I may as well embrace this and go out. And it's the best thing I've ever done in my life. Oh, it's just, I had actually quit the business before Leprechaun Returns came out. Said, as they say in the old westerns, hung up my spurs. Said, I'm done with that. Done with Hollywood. I left it forwarding. I'm not going to miss it. Of course, I'm stuck. It's just compartmentalized. It happened then. Start all over. I named my house jokingly the Hermitage. And and then the next thing I know, I was ready to quit, or I thought I was, but he wasn't ready for me to quit.
So yes, wow. Yeah. First of all, I want to say we're so glad you're out and about because, so I hosted a 1980s podcast, and I looked, starting a few years ago, we look for all the folks from our youths to speak to because we want to, look on our show, we want to make sure those folks are heard from and they get their due and honor, And I couldn't find you, this was years ago. So it's I'm glad that you're out there and able to, for us to, for you to be able to get that kind of acknowledgement from us.
One of the first couples that came by my table, my first con, 2019, in Indianapolis, at Horror Hound, came out and said, "So glad you came here. We're just glad to know you're not dead.
No.
We've been looking for you on the internet for 20 years." I'm like, "No, I'm okay." to on this side of the grass, they can come in. But you know, it's I just went, wow.
Yeah.
I just had.
It's a curious, era to live in the sense that, prior generations, we didn't have that ability to certainly make contact with folks that we were fans of.
Right.
Or track their personal lives sometimes, too much, some of these things, but.
And Hollywood used to take care of its elderly people. There was a home. Larry, the Three Stooges
right.
got to a certain, and you've heard all the stories, and now it's closed.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I don't know what people do if they're unable to do what I'm doing. And I'm going, God, how blessed am I to live in, 2022? Because 10 years ago, tough luck.
Yeah.
Greeter at Walmart.
Yeah.
So,
So I feel like we should keep moving forward, maybe, and not double back.
Oh,
let's cover a lot of territory.
let's do this.
Maybe you want to get back out there too.
Yeah, you're taking up my time. Come on. Next
Okay. Well, you know what? It just makes me think now. So is there, you made this comment that maybe you're compartmentalizing your creative urges and desires to continue acting. Now, Leprechaun Returns got you back in 2018. Are we going to see more from Mark Holton now?
Well, I've done another film since then, and it's called Stream. It's
Okay.
a streaming service.
Right.
And it's out. I have no idea. Huh?
Well, the movie itself is called Stream. We're not sure how you can see it yet. That's Michael Levy.
Yes, Michael Levy. And I don't know when Michael's going to finally say, I'm through cutting. But he's had a new family that he's starting. So, whatever he says,
Sure.
Take as much time as he needs.
And is this another horror film?
Yes, it is. And the reason why it appealed to me, for two reasons. Jeffrey Combs is the lead from the animator.
Right.
And two, they shot it right in the middle of COVID hell.
That's why it appealed to you?
Yeah, because I was,
Oh, I see. You had nothing. Yeah, you were locked down.
The earth had shut down.
Right.
There was no this. There was no human in here. And I had done one, and it was like, this isn't the ending, is it already? So I said, yeah, man, you're not doing it in upstate New York, obviously. He goes, no, we found a hotel in Gettysburg. I said, Gettysburg, okay. Get me the hell out of here. Get me to Gettysburg. So I literally got off the plane, walked in this old hotel, and had everything he needed to shoot that movie. Wow. Everybody had been pre-tested. Nobody was killed or died or caught to death or anything. And miraculous. And went in there, and literally, the only time I went out after I went in that hotel was going back to the airport. So it was one of the odds that, during, the big shutdown, at the most depressing time, And for me, it was like, God, the isolation is just, it's worked a number on everybody.
Yes, that is show.
So that was really neat getting out.
So you went from comedic roles to, obviously the Leprechaun, which is a comedy horror, I suppose, right? Leprechaun, the first Leprechaun. And then you did Returns, then you had this other film. I wonder how folks early on, even with Leprechaun, suspected that this actor who had these, again, in every film you read, you have these standout hilarious moments. Hey, it's Enrico Palazzo. I mean, you must hear that lots. How does it that folks didn't even know that you could do horror, appear in a horror film?
I had met Mark Jones. He wrote an episode of Super Bowl.
Okay.
And
you had appeared on Super Bowl, was it?
Just that one time.
Okay.
And we met over that in Orlando. And so after the series or whatever, he wrote Leprechaun and said, I want Mark Holton.
Wow.
And so that's how easy I got that one.
Okay. Wow.
And that's not fair.
said blessed earlier. Every story.
I mean silly, but I do mean. You know,
but you appreciate that other folks don't have it as easy.
You know, we're friends to this day. Yeah. And always will be. So.
Was that the only movie he ever directed?
Sure.
The director Leprechaun?
Was it the only movie he ever directed?
Yeah.
Leprechaun. Was that the only?
He only worked on the first one.
Yeah, he only worked at the first one. He is the grandfather that from all things, you know, flow the franchise started with him.
He must have from all the Leprechaun movies, you know?
Oh, I think so. Yeah.
I want to see you.
Call Sci-Fi Network and tell them. Say, we want another damn Leprechaun, we want it with Mark Jones.
Yeah. We get a series now. It's the era of these, you know, bring it on the small screen and you have an 8-episode arc. That's what they're doing. Well, so he had created that with you in mind. That's extremely.
Well, I don't know if he created it with me in mind, but at what point he was with Ozzy.
Yeah.
But, you know, after working on Superboy and hitting it off with him, and the time we spent together was, you know, like, we go to dinner or something like that. They're just joking around. And he had, you know what? He had actually recommended me for the Superboy episode. So he had already figured out that I could do what I needed to do, you know, execute for him. Before that, I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. Right? It ended up being two gigs. So I'm forever in his debt.
Yeah. Very good.
Do
You have a question?
Yeah. How did the goat taste? How did the goat taste?
How did the gold taste when you swallowed the gold?
It was delicious. It's like prime beef. You're dripping with blood.
You in Leprechaun 2, you live in the Leprechaun 1, right?
Yes,
I survived.
Yes, I ate it in the original.
How
And
did
then,
you have the second movie, you know?
the returns. Yeah. Yeah. Well, see, I love this man.
Yeah.
There are two damn leprechauns, and there's a bunch of funny stuff in between. Yeah, I had to. Let's not give away what happens when the leprechaun rips through my guts with it.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
How was it working with Mark Holton?
Oh, it was wonderful. It was wonderful. And Lemon Porco. So, yeah.
Who did you play? Who did you play?
Lemon Porco was played the leprechaun in Leprechaun
Oh,
Returns.
Or Dave's.
he did a good job.
Oh yeah, I think he did a great job.
And Jennifer Aniston. How was it working with Jennifer
Yeah,
Aniston?
you had the opportunity to work with the pre-Friends Jennifer Aniston. She was just about to start Friends the next year when it comes out.
Oh, I predicted it.
Is she?
I'm saying that.
No, I was going to ask you.
I did.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we were doing 12, 18-hour days, night shoots, and she was always just on, you know, and funny, smart, quick. We were just kind of a tight-knit little family about it. We enjoyed it, and we enjoyed each other, you know. We had Robert, you know, is the boy, and then Ken, you know, is the boyfriend or whatever. And so, you know, I said, you know, you're going places. You're going places because you're going to do a lot of comedy. I don't know where that's going to lead you, but you will be successful. Keep working like you're working.
Are you still in touch with Jennifer Aniston?
No, I'm not.
Is there ever a $5 million bonus?
No, I haven't done that yet.
Right,
I'll put it on my list.
Christmas card from Jennifer Aniston?
No, I don't. We pretty much, you know, you really don't keep in touch with a lot of people. You can't.
Anyone from Leprechaun? Any of the actors?
No.
I mean, this is a job, just like any other folks.
I am still friends with both of the directors.
Oh, I don't know. There might be other Leprechaun people up here. I think we should get you out of here.
Yeah, I think I just heard the battery go.
All right, hey Mark, we are so grateful to chat with you today, and especially grateful that you're out there and that your fans can see you and praise you as you're worthy of it. So thank you so much for staying with us.
So I appreciate it.